Hey Destiny Church, thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of Jesus' last sermons, which is found in Matthew chapter 25. In this lesson that Jesus is teaching, it's really important to pay attention to everything that he is communicating to us. Specifically, we will take a closer look at verses 34 through 46. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance. The kingdom has prepared for you since the creation of the world." So what does this mean to us? God is saying that the sheep, the good people, will be allowed a place in heaven because they have been helpful and kind. They have given the hungry food and the thirsty something to drink. So as we continue, what we see is, then he will say to those on his left, "Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels." This means that the bad people, goats that he is referring to, will go to hell because they did not show a caring side and ignored those in needs. After reading these verses and understanding them, it's clear to me that knowing God and doing his works are two very separate things. I believe that sometimes people try to get away with just knowing who he is and not putting any action in, but that's not what God has called us to do. He has called us to love and to serve people. So if we go back and we take another look at this parable, Jesus shares 6 specific mercies separating the righteous and unrighteous. These mercies are feeding the hungry, water for the thirsty, hospitality to strangers, clothing the naked, giving nursing care, and visiting those in confinement. For some of us, this seems normal, like this is what it means to be Christian. But then there are still some that are surprised because they deceive themselves into believing that knowing about Jesus is enough when it's not. I think it's really important to understand the crowd that Jesus is speaking to. Yes, he's speaking to us, but he was also speaking to the physical crowd that is there at that time. One group in specific was the religious crowd, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. I think one of the things that Jesus is really addressing to them is that you can't just sit back and know God. And that's what the Pharisees did. Yes, they praised him, but they didn't fulfill his works, and that was not enough. A strong relationship with Jesus should motivate you to be passionate about loving other people. The heart that Jesus seeks is the one that understands that if you have a relationship with him, you will never turn a blind eye and refuse to show love. It doesn't matter who they are, what clothes are on their back. Jesus wishes and commands that you show love and care for them and don't cast judgment on them. Show them mercy. In verse 40 of Matthew 25, Jesus says that whatever you did for one of the least of brothers or sisters of mine, you did for me. As a wrap up, I want to say one last thing. God will bring somebody into your path that you can show in a very practical way the love of Jesus to. You have to decide though, do you see them in the image of God? Or do you see that they are wonderfully made even if they are some of the most difficult people to be around? Can you still love them? This is Jesus' heart, and if we will just simply let our love of Jesus overflow into others, we can truly fulfill our works that Christ has asked of us.